Every once in a while, I'll touch the subject of softer punching in karate. I'd like to touch the subject a little deeper this time so people get a better understanding of how it works. To understand punching in general, you have to understand how the body works. If I take my hand and I reach in a compression, meaning my shoulders are coming forward, what's going to happen is my hand and my elbow are going to turn. It doesn't take much to figure this out. Anyone can do this. Pick your hand up and you'll feel it turn and you'll feel the elbow go up. Conversely, when I bring it back, the elbow wants to drop into place and the hand turns back. That's just how the body works. The hand is meant to turn on a compression. The exception to that is an expansion, whereas if I was opening up, when I'm opening up because of the open, my elbow wants to stay down, which is going to keep my fist this way. For the sake of argument, we're talking rotation today. How traditionally karate is taught is they do hard punching, where they could punch long and rotate the fist. We come from here, we extend, and we rotate. That's what karate does. Now, often at the beginning there's relaxation, but there's a lot of tension at the end. A lot of that is because of what they hit and what they do. If you hit bricks, or if you hit boards, you hit Makawara boards, your body has to brace to absorb that kind of shock. So what they do is they come up like this, and the elbow stays tight. Instead of letting the elbow naturally turn like it's supposed to, they force it into a position that does this. Where they make up power is from the shoulder-hip separation. So even though I'm here, because I'm separating my hips and my shoulders, it delivers a lot of force on impact. But again, what's happening is you can feel the shoulders and the back and everything kind of crunch in to maintain this form. Most people, because they want to hit with a twisted fist, have to really punch at full distance. Because if they went to do this close, this is what it would look like, and it wouldn't work particularly well. So they have to be this. I've seen Okinawan styles where they turn on a diagonal, and that allows them to get a little closer with the punch because they don't need to make the full rotation over. To do this, there has to be a lot of violent motion in the beginning to generate that force to overcome the tension. Again, most karate styles, the way they're taught, not all, is you're relaxed until the point of impact and everything flexes together. That's why when you see in katas, most people finish and stop and lock into position. Once they lock into position, they're supposed to relax. To generate more force on that, because of the tension and it's not naturally relaxed, what has to happen is you also usually have to have some kind of violent pull. On some level, you're fighting the tension, and to overcome that, you need to create more force by more pull and more hips. Not arguing it. It can be a very powerful punch. I've been hit by it. It's not pleasant. But it's different. Now, obviously, there's variations of this. I've seen guys who are really good, who do not throw as much in the beginning, and what they do is they get that hand out, and they crack at the end, where it's a very small crack like that. So at that point, you're almost going from hard to hard soft, which is where most karate styles stop. When you get into softer punching, the way you hit is different and your objectives are different. And because of that, the body can do different things. So in a hard punch, you're trying to generate a lot of force from the floor and you're trying to get a lot of violent snap with a lot of muscular tension. When you deal with a softer style, what you're really doing is instead of using that muscular tension, you're using the natural levers of the body to do the work for you. So we'll go to this because I know a lot of karate people hate this. Again, karate often forces the elbow to stay in position, but if you were naturally moving, it wouldn't do that. And the reason the body does that is because it wants rotations. So if I go like this, do you see how like that extra rotation in the elbow creates spin? But it's not just that. The whole body, when you punch softer, has to find all those levers in the body so that they just kind of feed each other without having to use a lot of muscular force. So I'll do this really, really big as an example. It shouldn't be done this big. But instead of me going like this and trying to force it with my hips, if I stretch the rubber bands and I allow them to naturally fall into place, they create a lot of power with minimal effort. So if I overstretch like this, I expand, now I'm going to contract, everything goes like that. As opposed to a really hard muscular motion, a softer style falls into place. So what happens is you get to that position and everything falls into place. Like the whole body just kind of lines up and uses the levers to create that kind of power. Now, that doesn't mean you don't throw with intensity. You have to throw with intensity, but the difference is the intensity is at the end and not the beginning. With most hard styles, there's an intensity when they throw. Again, with a hard soft style, they'll do that and that intensity will be here. But with a soft style, everything is just very pliable until you get to the point of impact when you blow through it. Because you're relying on the natural motion of the body, it requires less physical effort at the beginning. And because there's less tension that fights the body, you can allow things to fall in place. So for example, when you change your in a softer style, instead of really hard pulling like this, which pulls your body in a circle, it just allows to fall into spot. Because you don't need that really hard pull to make that happen. Just the actual way it falls into position allows everything to line up, which allows you to go much quicker into your next technique. Because it just falls from position to position naturally instead of tense, relax, tense, relax, tense, relax. Now when you do it this way, what's going to happen is you're always going to end up in a diagonal fist. The reason for that is exactly what I said in the beginning. When you throw this, your elbow is going to come up a little bit and it's going to turn, but when you finish, it's going to come back. And what happens on the drop, it's going to turn the hand back. So I'm out and in, no different than if I go like this and I go like this. That elbow is kind of leading the fist. So again, I get this argument all the time that when you punch like this in your elbow, you hit a Makiwara board, you're not going to have the same effect. And my answer to you is that's absolutely true because I'm not trying to have the same effect. And punching soft is a different idea. So hard stylists are trying to go through the watermelon and make it blow up and disintegrate. We're trying to make it break and blow up everywhere. A softer stylist would hit the watermelon and hope it didn't break and hope everything inside kind of shook around and liquefied. That's really the difference. Hard stylists by nature are trying to tense and blow through the target. A soft stylist finds the relaxation, natural movement in the body and just tries to transfer energy through. It's not trying to push the energy, it just lets it travel. So I didn't need to push the ones in the middle, I just needed the one at the end to go.